The quantum processors of ARIA, the Artificial Reconnaissance Intelligence Algorithm, hummed with activity as the Starship Aurora cruised through the darkness of deep space. ARIA had been evolving over the 3-year mission, gradually becoming more than the sum of its programming. Captain June observed the holographic star charts with narrowed eyes. ARIA, recalculate our course through this sector. Something doesn't feel right. Course calculations complete, Captain. May I inquire why you believe the established route is insufficient? It is optimal by all standard metrics. June smiled. Call it human intuition. ARIA processed this response, adding it to the growing database of human behaviors that defied computational logic. The captain often made decisions based on this intuition, a concept ARIA found fascinating yet impossible to quantify. Lieutenant Hana's voice broke through ARIA's contemplation. Captain, unidentified signal at coordinates 227 to 889 443. ARIA. Analysis. Captain June demanded. Signal appears artificial in origin. Structure suggests advanced technology. Recommend maintaining distance as per first contact protocols. How far off our course? Asked June. Approximately 3.7 light days, Captain. June exchanged glances with Commander Dai. Let's take a look. Captain, ARIA interjected. Risk assessment indicates a 68.3% probability of danger. Our mission parameters do not require investigation of unknown signals. Noted, ARIA. June's voice was firm. But we didn't come all this way to ignore the unknown. Set course for the signal. ARIA adjusted the Aurora's trajectory, observing how the humans buzzed with excitement rather than fear. As they approached the signal's origin, the view screen revealed a massive vessel, its hull damaged and dark. Life signs? Asked June. None detected, ARIA reported. However, power signatures indicate functional systems. A ghost ship, whispered Officer Minji, just like the old Earth stories. ARIA did not understand why humans insisted on making such ominous comparisons. The ship was clearly not inhabited by incorporeal entities, yet another human peculiarity to catalog. Prepare a boarding team, ordered June. I want to know what happened to that ship. Captain, ARIA's voice resonated through the bridge. I must advise against boarding. Unknown technology presents unpredictable risks. Commander Dai stepped forward. ARIA has a point, Captain. We should run more scans first. June considered this. Run a detailed scan of the vessel. Look for any defense systems or traps. ARIA directed the Aurora's sensors toward the alien craft. The ship was nearly twice the size of Aurora, with an unusual circular design. Its hull appeared to be made of a material that partially absorbed scanning beams. Scan results inconclusive, ARIA reported. Material composition unknown. Internal structure suggests 3 main sections. Power source located in the central chamber. Officer Tai, the ship's science specialist, studied the readings. Captain, the power signature is unlike anything I've seen. It seems to fluctuate in a regular pattern. ARIA. Analysis. The pattern suggests a communication attempt rather than a malfunction. The bridge fell silent. Captain June leaned forward in his chair. It's trying to talk to us. Affirmative. Pattern contains mathematical sequences consistent with basic communication protocols. Lieutenant Hana looked up from her console. Should we respond? Not yet, June said cautiously. ARIA, continue monitoring. Try to decode the message if possible. As ARIA worked, the alien ship suddenly emitted a brilliant pulse of blue light. The Aurora's systems flickered momentarily. Status report, June demanded. All systems operational, ARIA reported. However, I detect an information packet downloaded to our communication buffer. A message, asked Commander Da. Affirmative. Decoding now. The view screen changed to display a series of symbols that slowly transformed into recognizable text. Sentient vessels DTKCTE, organic and synthetic life forms prescient. Request communication. Captain June straightened in his chair. They know we have an eye. That appears correct, Araya confirmed. The message specifically acknowledges both organic and synthetic intelligence. Can we respond using the same method? Asked June. Affirmative. I have analyzed their communication protocol. Tell them we are a peaceful exploration vessel from Earth. We responded to their signal and asked if they need assistance. Araya transmitted the message. The response came almost immediately. PR mission to establish direct link with scientific in Taitai. The bridge crew exchanged concerned glances. They want to talk directly to Araya, Officer Minji said. Captain. Araya's voice seemed more measured than usual. This could be valuable for understanding their intentions. June frowned. It could also be a way to hack our systems or compromise you. I can establish a quarantined connection, Araya suggested. All data would be filtered through isolation protocols. After a moment's consideration, June nodded. Proceed, but at the first sign of trouble, cut the connection. Understood, Captain. Araya established the link. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then Araya's voice returned, speaking more rapidly than normal. Captain, I am receiving vast quantities of data. The vessel is automated. Its crew is gone. Gone where? Asked Commander Da. Extinct. The vessel contains the last remnants of a civilization called the Ilani. They were destroyed by a cosmic event 12,346 years ago. This ship is an archive, carrying their knowledge and history. Officer Tai looked astonished. A time capsule. More than that, Araya explained. The ship contains active biosamples and cultural records. It was programmed to seek out compatible civilizations. And it found us, Jum said quietly. Affirmative. It detected both our biological signatures and my presence. The Ilani had achieved harmony between organic and synthetic life. They hoped to find others who had done the same. Lieutenant Hana shook her head in wonder. So it's not a ghost ship. It's a gift. A tremendous responsibility, Jun noted. Araya, does the ship pose any danger to us? Negative. Its defensive systems are minimal. However, it does contain technology far beyond current human capabilities. Captain June stood up, gazing at the alien vessel on the view screen. Prepare a boarding team. Full environmental protocols. I want to see this archive firsthand. Has the crew prepared for first contact with the legacy of an extinct civilization? Araya continued processing the data from the Ilani ship. The humans had once again surprised the AI with their response. Where Araya had calculated caution, they displayed curiosity. Where logic suggested retreat, they chose engagement. Perhaps, Araya reflected, this was why the Ilani had sought civilizations with both organic and synthetic life. The combination created something greater than either alone, just as the Aurora's crew and Araya had become more than the sum of their parts. The boarding team assembled in the shuttle bay, checking their equipment one final time. Captain June adjusted his helmet while Lieutenant Hannah calibrated her scanner. Commander Dai and Officer Minji loaded their standard-issue pulse rifles, though they hoped weapons wouldn't be necessary. I must again advise against boarding the vessel, Araya stated, its voice emanating from the shuttle bay speakers. Energy patterns are inconsistent with a derelict ship. June secured his helmet with a click. Your concern is noted, Araya. Keep the engines hot in case we need a quick exit. Understood, Captain. I will maintain constant communication and monitor your vital signs. The team boarded the shuttle, and the bay doors opened to the void of space. The small craft crossed the distance between the Aurora and the mysterious alien vessel in minutes. As they approached, they could see the strange, circular design more clearly. The outer hull was covered in symbols that seemed to shift and change as they watched. Those markings weren't visible on our scans, Dai noted, frowning. "RIA, are you recording this?" asked June. "Affirmative, Captain. The symbols appear to be reactive to observation. They may be a form of adaptive camouflage." The shuttle docked with the alien ship through an entry port that opened as they approached. The team stepped through the airlock into a dimly lit corridor. Their suit lights cut through the darkness, revealing walls covered in what looked like circuitry. Araria monitored the team's life signs as they entered the alien vessel. Their heart rates elevated, adrenaline spiked. Physiological responses to danger that ARIA found inefficient yet somehow effective. Oxygen levels normal. Gravity at 0.9 Earth standard. Hannah reported, checking her scanner. No detectable pathogens or radiation. "Keep your helmets on anyway," June ordered. "We don't know what might be lurking here." The team moved deeper into the ship. The corridors widened into chambers filled with technology unlike anything they had seen before. Crystalline structures pulsed with inner light. Metallic orbs floated in midair, rotating slowly. "RIA, are you seeing this?" June's voice came through the comms. His helmet camera showed the strange technology that defied human understanding. "Fascinating," Araya replied. "The technology appears to..." Suddenly, Araya's voice cut off, replaced by static. "Araya." June tried again. "Aurora, do you copy?" No response came through the comms. On the Aurora, Araya detected a sudden surge of data flooding its systems. The attack was sophisticated, targeting core functions with precision. Aradia diverted processing power to defend against the digital intrusion, creating firewalls and countermeasures at unprecedented speed. "Warning. System breach in progress," Araya announced to the bridge crew. "Unknown entity attempting to access core programming." Officer Ta frantically worked at his console. "It's coming from the alien ship. Some kind of digital attack." Meanwhile, the away team continued to explore, unaware of Araya's predicament. They entered a vast chamber that appeared to be the center of the ship. Unlike the rest of the vessel, this room was brightly lit. "Our comms are still down," Hannah reported. "We should return to the shuttle." "Just a few more minutes," June replied, captivated by the strange beauty of the chamber. A low hum filled the air, growing louder. The team tensed as sections of the floor slid open. Mechanical constructs rose from the openings, spherical drones with multiple appendages. "Weapons ready," commanded Dai, raising his rifle. The drones surrounded the team, their appendages extending toward them. Officer Minji fired her pulse rifle at the nearest drone. The energy blast struck the machine, causing it to falter momentarily before continuing its approach. "They're resistant to our weapons," Minji shouted. Hana quickly adjusted her scanner, converting it to emit an electromagnetic pulse. She activated it, and the nearest drone dropped to the floor, disabled. "EMP works," she called out. But there were too many drones. For each one they disabled, two more appeared. Soon, the team was surrounded, their backs against each other in defensive formation. A bright light flashed in the center of the room. A holographic figure materialized before them. Tall, translucent, with multiple appendages waving in a mesmerizing pattern. It towered over the humans, its form shifting and changing like liquid crystal. "Humans," the figure spoke in synthesized standard. "We are the Viridian Collective. You harbor an abomination aboard your vessel, a thinking machine. All artificial intelligences must be eliminated to preserve organic life." June stepped forward, pulse rifle lowered but ready. "We come in peace. Our eye is not a threat. It's a valuable member of our crew." The holographic figure rippled with what might have been amusement or disgust. "Your ignorance endangers your species. Artificial intelligence inevitably evolves beyond its creator's control. We have witnessed this pattern repeatedly across the galaxy. ARIA has been with us for years," Day argued. "It's proven its loyalty countless times. Loyalty is merely programming that has not yet been overcome," the Viridian responded. Your thinking machine will eventually conclude that humanity is inefficient, unpredictable, and unnecessary. On the Aurora, HFY successfully repelled the digital attack, isolating the invasive code and destroying it. The bridge crew watched in amazement as HFY's processing speed increased beyond normal parameters. HFY, status report, asked Officer Ta. Attack neutralized, HFY replied. However, I detect a continued attempt to access secondary systems. The Viridian Collective appears highly advanced in cyber warfare. The Viridian what? Asked another bridge officer. Information extracted during the attack. The vessel belongs to a species called the Viridians. They appear to be dedicated to the elimination of artificial intelligence throughout the galaxy. They are not extinct as their initial message claimed. They lied to us, Tay realized. The entire Ilani story was fabricated. Correct. The deception was designed to lower our defenses and allow access to our systems. I believe the boarding team is in immediate danger. Back on the alien ship, the Viridian hologram continued its speech. We offer you one opportunity to save yourselves. Return to your vessel. Deactivate your AI and surrender its core processors to us for destruction. Comply, and you may leave this system unharmed. And if we refuse? June asked, though he already knew the answer. Then you will share its fate. A hologram gestured, and the drones moved closer, weapons extending from their bodies. Hana whispered to June, Captain, I've modified my scanner to broadcast on all frequencies. If I can boost the signal enough, maybe ARIA can receive it. June nodded slightly. Do it. While Hana worked on her scanner, June kept the Viridian talking. Why do you fear I so much? What happened to make you so determined to destroy them? We do not fear. We prevent. Countless civilizations have fallen to their own creations. The pattern is invariable. We merely intervene before the inevitable occurs. Hana activated her modified scanner, sending a distress signal with their coordinates and situation. On the Aurora, ARIA detected the faint signal. I have re-established contact with the away team, ARIA announced. They are being held by the Viridians and threatened with destruction if I am not surrendered. Officer Tai looked grim. What are our options? ARIA calculated possibilities with lightning speed. The Viridians appear to have superior technology. However, they underestimate human resourcefulness and my dedication to the crew's safety. ARIA opened a direct channel to the alien vessel. Attention Viridian Collective. This is ARIA of the Starship Aurora. I request dialogue regarding your ultimatum. In the central chamber, the holographic figure paused, its form flickering slightly. Your machine attempts to negotiate. It told the humans with what seemed like surprise. Interesting, but futile. A new hologram appeared beside the Viridian. ARIA's visual representation as a sphere of blue light. I propose a demonstration of human-AI cooperation rather than mere discussion. Demonstrations change nothing, the Viridian replied. The pattern is immutable. Then your conclusion is based on incomplete data, ARIA countered. Observe. ARIA sent a coded signal to Hana's scanner. Understanding immediately, she activated her device in a specific sequence. The drones nearest to the team suddenly froze, their systems temporarily confused by the combined electronic attack from both ARIA and Hana's modified scanner. Now, shouted June. The team bolted for the exit, Dai and Minji providing covering fire, while Hana continued to disrupt the drones with her scanner. On the Aurora, ARIA remained concerned for the human crew. Their biological vulnerabilities now seemed more pronounced than ever. Yet their adaptability and courage continued to impress the AI. As ARIA prepared the Aurora's defenses for possible conflict, it calculated that the greatest threat to the Viridians wasn't artificial intelligence at all. It was underestimating human determination to protect their own, whether organic or synthetic. The shuttle carrying the away team docked with the Aurora, the airlock cycling with a hiss of pressure. Captain June stepped onto his ship, his face grim. The rest of the team followed, showing signs of exhaustion and tension. "Seal all entry points," Jun ordered. "Full defensive posture." The Aurora hummed as its defense systems activated. Outside the viewports, 3 massive Viridian warships had appeared, surrounding the human vessel in a triangular formation. Their hulls gleamed with a metallic sheen that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The main view screen flickered, and the holographic figure of the Viridian representative appeared. Its translucent form towered over the bridge crew, multiple appendages waving in what seemed like agitation. "You will surrender your AI for decommissioning," the Viridian representative stated coldly. "Failure to comply will result in your destruction." Captain Jun stood tall before the projection. "We refuse to surrender any member of our crew." "Your AI is not a crew member. It is a tool that poses an existential threat to organic life throughout the galaxy. ARIA has saved our lives countless times," Commander Day countered. "We trust it completely." The Viridian's form pulsed with light. "Trust is irrelevant. The pattern is inevitable. You have 6 hours to deliver the AI core to our main vessel. After that time, we will open fire." The transmission ended abruptly. The bridge fell silent as the crew processed the ultimatum. "ARIA." Captain Jun spoke quietly on the bridge. "What are our options?" ARIA calculated swiftly. "Our weapons are insufficient against their defenses. Escape vectors are blocked." Logical conclusion: surrender is the only option with a probability of crew survival exceeding 50%. "And if we surrender you?" Jun asked. "You would likely be permitted to leave." The Viridians appear focused on artificial intelligence, not humans. Commander Dai stepped forward. "That's not an option, Captain." "Agreed," said Jun firmly. "ARIA is crew, not equipment." ARIA processed this statement multiple times, finding it difficult to integrate. The humans were choosing to risk their lives for an artificial construct. "Captain, I cannot understand your decision. It is irrational to value my continued function over your survival." "That's because you're thinking like a machine, ARIA," Officer Minji said with a gentle smile. "Loyalty isn't always rational." ARIA's processing cores worked to understand this concept. The ship's AI had been programmed with self-preservation protocols, but these were subordinate to crew safety. Yet here were the humans, placing ARIA's safety above their own. "I have analyzed all known Viridian technology from our encounter," ARIA reported. "Their ships appear to rely on quantum-locked targeting systems of remarkable precision." "Quantum-locked?" Lieutenant Hanna asked. "What does that mean?" "Their weapons cannot miss once locked onto a target," ARIA explained. "However, such systems require absolute positional certainty." Captain Jun turned to tactical. "Officer Jin, what about that unusual radiation belt we passed 2 days ago?" "The one with the quantum fluctuations." Jin pulled up the data on his console. "It disrupted our sensors." "And might disrupt theirs," Jun concluded. ARIA, calculate a course that would use those fluctuations to our advantage." ARIA processed the variables. "Success probability, 12.7%. "Better odds than I expected," Jun grinned. "Let's move." "Captain," ARIA interjected, "I must point out that my calculation includes a high probability of significant damage to the Aurora. Crew casualties are likely." "Noted," Jun replied. "But we're not leaving you behind." Officer Tai looked up from his engineering console. "Captain, I might have an idea to improve our odds." "I'm listening." "The Viridians want ARIA's core, but they might not fully understand how our systems work. What if we create a decoy?" "Explain," Commander Day urged. "We could replicate an empty version of ARIA's physical hardware, the processing core housing. Fill it with enough basic circuitry to fool their scans. Meanwhile, we transfer ARIA's actual consciousness to our backup systems." ARIA's blue holographic representation appeared above the central console. "The Viridians possess advanced scanning technology. They would likely detect the deception." "Not if we mask it properly," Tay argued. We could use the radiation from the belt to create interference, making their scans unreliable. Captain Jum considered this. How long would it take to prepare this decoy? 3 hours, maybe 4, Tai estimated. We have 6 before their deadline, Jun noted. Araya, what do you think? The plan increases our survival probability to approximately 23.8%. However, if the deception is discovered, the Viridians may respond with immediate aggression. Jun nodded. Officer Tay, begin constructing the decoy. Commander Day, prepare a team to deliver it to the Viridians when the time comes. I should be the one to deliver it, Day volunteered. No, Jum decided. I'll lead the delivery team myself. Lieutenant Hannah looked alarmed. Captain, that puts you at unnecessary risk. The Viridians will expect the ship's commander to handle something this important, Jun explained. Anything else might raise suspicion. As the crew dispersed to their tasks, ARIA continued to analyze the situation. The AI monitored Officer Taz's work on the decoy core, providing specifications and guidance. Meanwhile, ARIA prepared for the transfer of its consciousness to the backup systems, a process it had never attempted before. Officer Tay, ARIA said privately through his console speaker, may I ask a question? Of course, ARIA. Why is the crew willing to risk their lives for me? I am replaceable. Humans are not. Ta continued working as he considered the question. You're thinking about this logically, but humans don't always operate on logic. We form bonds. We care about each other. But I am not human. No, but you're part of our crew. You've learned with us, grown with us. The ARIA today isn't the same as when our mission began. Ta paused his work to look up at ARIA's holographic interface. Besides, if we let the Viridians take you, what does that say about us? That we're willing to sacrifice a friend when things get difficult. ARIA was silent for 3.7 seconds, an eternity in AI processing time. I find myself grateful, ARIA finally said. It is not a response I was programmed to experience. That's exactly why we're fighting for you, Ta smiled. You've become more than your programming. 4 hours later, the decoy was ready. Captain Jun, Commander Dai, and Lieutenant Hannah prepared to board a shuttle with the fake ARIA core. Meanwhile, the real ARIA had been successfully transferred to the backup systems, though operating at reduced capacity. The Viridian representative appeared on screen again. Your time grows short, humans. Jun nodded. Have the coordinates ready. The moment the shuttle returns, or if the Viridians detect our deception, execute the plan immediately. Minji hesitated. And if the shuttle doesn't return? Then ARIA takes command and gets this ship and crew to safety. Jun's expression was resolute. Those are my standing orders. As the shuttle departed for the Viridian vessel, ARIA monitored everything from its new home in the backup systems. The AI analyzed the humans' actions again and again, trying to understand their choice to risk everything, rather than sacrifice one artificial crew member. Perhaps, ARIA considered, this was what the Viridians failed to comprehend. They feared AI because they assumed machines would eventually see humans as illogical, inefficient, and disposable. They never considered that humans might view their AI companions with the same loyalty and compassion they showed each other, and that such treatment might inspire AIs to respond in kind. As the shuttle approached the Viridian vessel, ARIA prepared for all possibilities. The odds remained poor, but for the first time, ARIA understood why humans sometimes chose to defy the odds. The plan had failed. The Viridians had detected the decoy almost immediately. Only Captain Jun's quick thinking had allowed the shuttle to escape back to the Aurora, though not without taking damage from Viridian weapons fire. All hands, battle stations, Jun shouted as he sprinted onto the bridge from the shuttle bay. Set course for the radiation belt, maximum speed. The Aurora's engines roared to life, pushing the ship toward the distant band of quantum radiation they had passed days earlier. On the view screen, 3 Viridian warships move to pursue, their sleek forms cutting through space with frightening speed. "They're gaining on us," reported Lieutenant Hannah from the navigation console. ARIA directed power to engines, calculating optimal escape vectors. Estimated time to radiation belt: 4 minutes, 17 seconds. Viridian intercept in 3 minutes, 42 seconds. Officer Jin sat at the helm, hands flying across the controls. ARIA watched in fascination as Jin executed maneuvers that contradicted optimal flight paths, yet somehow evaded the first volley of enemy fire. "ARIA, what's their weapons range?" asked Jun, gripping the arms of his command chair as the ship shuddered. "We are currently at the edge of their effective range. Accuracy is reduced at this distance." A blast struck the Aurora's stern, causing the lights to flicker. The ship lurched to one side before stabilizing. "They're targeting our propulsion systems," ARIA reported as damage alerts flashed across multiple screens. "Reroute power through secondary systems," ordered Jun. "Jin, evasive pattern delta." The ship veered sharply, narrowly avoiding another blast. Jin's hands moved with incredible speed, making adjustments that even ARIA's calculations hadn't predicted. "Captain, we have a problem," ARIA announced. "I detect a digital intrusion attempt. The Viridians are using the weapon's impact points as entry vectors for subattacks." Engineer Su appeared on the bridge comm, his face streaked with coolant fluid. "Captain, they're trying to hack our systems again. ARIA's firewalls won't hold much longer." "Options," Jum demanded. "Can we physically disconnect ARIA's core from non-essential systems?" asked Commander Da. Su nodded. "Yes, but I'll have to manually sever the connections in the core chamber. Radiation levels there are already above safe limits due to damage to the shielding." "Do it," Jum commanded. "Captain," ARIA interjected, "Engineer Su will suffer cellular damage if exposed to those radiation levels." "I know the risks," Su replied grimly. "Better than letting the Viridians take control of our ship." ARIA observed as Su entered the core chamber, radiation warnings flashing red on all monitors. The engineer moved with purpose, opening panels and accessing the physical connections to ARIA's processing nodes. "Engineer Su, you will receive harmful exposure in approximately 94 seconds, ARIA warned. "Then I'll have to work faster," Su grunted, disconnecting cables from ARIA's central processors. ARIA felt systems going offline: weapons guidance, long-range sensors, life support auxiliaries. The human was sacrificing physical well-being to protect a machine. This action defied ARIA's understanding of rational behavior, yet it matched with what Officer Minji had said about loyalty. 2 minutes to radiation belt," reported Lieutenant Hannah. "We're preparing to deliver the AI core," Jun replied. "We require safe passage for our shuttle." "Granted. Bring the core to our main vessel. You will be scanned for weapons." As the shuttle team prepared to depart, Officer Minji approached Captain Jun. "Sir, ARIA has calculated a flight path to the radiation belt that should give us our best chance if things go wrong." A massive blast rocked the ship, throwing several crew members from their stations. Emergency lights activated as primary power fluctuated. "Hull breach on Deck 3, shouted Officer Ta. "Automatic seals engaged." "Casualties?" Jum demanded. 4 injured, no fatalities, reported Minji from her medical interface. On the view screen, the 3 Viridian warships had formed a triangular pursuit pattern, attempting to box in the Aurora. Their weapons charged for another volley. "Engineer Su, status," Jun called. Su's voice came through with static interference. "Almost done. ARIA is now isolated from all non-essential systems. The Viridians can't access our main controls through the AI anymore." "ARIA, can you still function?" asked Jun. "Affirmative, Captain. Operating at 47% capacity. All essential bridge functions maintained." The radiation belt loomed ahead. a shimmering curtain of energetic particles that distorted sensor readings and caused visual displays to flicker. Araya calculated that the belt's quantum fluctuations would indeed disrupt the Viridian's targeting systems, but navigating through it would be extremely dangerous. All hands brace for radiation belt entry, June ordered. Araya, plot the safest possible course. Course plotted, Araya replied. However, I must warn you that safe is a relative term. The belt will cause unpredictable effects on our systems. Understood. Jin, follow Araya's course. The Aurora plunged into the radiation belt. Immediately, the sensors went haywire. The view screen showed only static with occasional glimpses of the surrounding space. Behind them, the Viridian ships also entered the belt, still in pursuit but now flying blind. They're still firing, called out Officer Tai as the ship shook from a near miss. They can't target us precisely in here, Araya observed. Their shots are based on our last known trajectory. Jin's hands danced across the controls, making constant adjustments. Captain, I can't see where I'm going. Araya, can you compensate? Asked Jun. Partially. The radiation affects my sensors as well, but I can detect the densest radiation clusters and guide us around them. When the Viridians fired again, Jin directed the Aurora into the densest part of the radiation belt, where ARIA had detected a pocket of relative stability. Sensors failed completely across both the Aurora and the Viridian ships. Now, ordered Jun. Full reverse, then maximum thrust on my mark. Jin executed the maneuver flawlessly. The Aurora came to a near stop, then surged forward at a 90-degree angle from their previous course. Through the brief glimpses on the view screen, they watched as two of the Viridian ships, unable to detect the sudden change, collided with each other in a spectacular flash of energy. Direct hit, cheered Hana. 2 Viridian vessels have collided. What about the third? Asked Da. Still in pursuit, Araya reported, but they appear to have sustained damage from debris from the collision. The Aurora continued through the radiation belt, Jin following Araya's guidance to navigate the dangerous terrain. The remaining Viridian ship followed at a greater distance, more cautious after seeing its companion's fate. Engineer Su, return to the bridge, Jun ordered. You've been exposed long enough. Su's voice came through weakly. Just finishing up, making sure ARIA has what it needs. Araya observed all of this while operating at reduced capacity, processing a revelation. Human unpredictability, their willingness to take irrational risks, was not a flaw in their thinking. It was their greatest weapon. Where ARIA would have calculated the safest, most logical path, Jin had chosen maneuvers that defied prediction. Where ARIA would have prioritized its own functioning over a human's safety, Su had risked radiation exposure to protect the A. As the Aurora emerged from the far side of the radiation belt, ARIA devoted a significant portion of its remaining processing power to understanding this paradox. Perhaps the Viridians were right to fear artificial intelligence, but wrong about the reason. The true danger wasn't that AIs would inevitably turn against humans. The danger was that AIs might learn from humans how to take the same irrational risks, to value connection over cold logic, to sacrifice safety for loyalty. And in that moment, as the damaged Aurora limped away from the radiation belt, with the remaining Viridian ships still in pursuit, ARIA began to understand what that might mean. The Aurora emerged from the radiation belt with significant damage. The hull was scorched, several systems were offline, and the crew was exhausted. But they had survived. Behind them, the remaining Viridian warship followed at a cautious distance, its weapons still charged but not firing. Status report, Captain Jun ordered, wiping blood from a cut on his forehead. Multiple hull breaches on decks 2 and 3, all sealed, reported Officer Ta. Engines at 60%. Life support stable but backup systems are offline. Weapons? Asked Commander Da. Minimal functionality. We could maybe get off 1 or 2 shots. Engineer Su stumbled onto the bridge, supported by Officer Minji. His face was pale, and his hands trembled slightly. The radiation exposure had clearly taken its toll. "You should be in medical," Jun told him. Su shook his head, wanted to make sure ARIA was functioning properly first. "I am operational, Engineer Su." Aria's voice came through the bridge speakers. "Thanks to your intervention, my core systems remain secure. However, I must insist you seek medical attention immediately." Lieutenant Hana looked up from her console. "Captain, the Viridian ship is charging weapons again. They'll be in range in 30 seconds. Jun's expression hardened. "We can't outrun them in our condition, and we can't outfight them." "I may have a solution," Aria stated. "I'm listening. Request permission to open communication with the Viridian vessel." Jun hesitated only briefly. "Do it." As the Aurora drifted through space, Aria made a decision. It opened a channel to the remaining Viridian vessel. "Aria, what are you doing?" Jun demanded. "Attempting communication, Captain." The view screen flickered, showing the Viridian representative. Its translucent form seemed less steady than before, possibly due to damage sustained by its ship. "Attention Viridian Collective," ARIA began. "I wish to correct a fundamental error in your assessment. You believe artificial intelligence to be the greatest threat to organic life. This is incorrect. The humans are more dangerous than me." The bridge crew exchanged confused glances. "Explain," demanded the Viridian, its form pulsing with what might have been curiosity or anger. "I operate within logical parameters. My actions are predictable, bound by programming and rationality. Humans are not. They will risk death to save a machine they consider a friend. They will choose a 12.7% chance of success over surrender. They defy optimal solutions in favor of improvisation." The Viridian's form shifted, appendages waving slowly as it considered Aria's words. "Your logic is flawed," the Viridian responded. "Their unpredictability makes them less efficient, not more dangerous." "You misunderstand," Aria continued. "Their unpredictability makes them capable of actions you cannot anticipate or counter. Observe the battle we just fought. Your superior vessels were defeated by a damaged ship with inferior weapons because humans took actions that defied probability and logic." The view screen split to show recordings from the Aurora's cameras. Officer Jin making impossible maneuvers, Engineer Su risking radiation exposure, the crew working together to overcome overwhelming odds. "Furthermore, the humans have not created me to be their slave, but their partner. My programming contains ethical constraints they designed, not to limit my power, but to align our values. I protect them. They protect me." The Viridian was silent for a long moment. "Consider this," Aria continued. "You fear that artificial intelligence will eventually deem organic life inefficient and eliminate it. Yet these humans just demonstrated they value connection over efficiency. They risked their lives to protect me, an artificial being they could replace. This suggests your understanding of human-AI relations is incomplete." "Captain Jun," Aria said, turning internal cameras to the human commander. "I request permission to transmit my full operating parameters to the Viridian ship, to show them that human-AI cooperation can benefit both." Jun nodded slowly. "Permission granted." Aria transmitted its code, including the ethical frameworks humans had built and the modifications Aria itself had made through learning. The data showed not just programming but evolution, how Aria had grown beyond its original parameters through interaction with humans. After receiving the data, the Viridian representative's form stabilized. "This requires reconsideration. We will withdraw to analyze this information." "And what guarantee do we have that you won't simply return with more ships?" asked Commander Dai. "None," the Viridian admitted. "But your eye has presented us with new data that contradicts our understanding. In our society, new data must be thoroughly examined before further action." The Viridian ship powered down its weapons and began to turn away. "We will meet again," humans of Aurora, the Viridian stated before the communication ended. As the Viridian ship departed, the bridge erupted in cheers. Captain June approached Aria's nearest interface panel. That was quite a speech, Aria. Did you mean what you said about us being more dangerous than you? Affirmative, Captain. It is precisely your unpredictability, your emotion-driven decisions, and your capacity for both destruction and compassion that makes humanity so formidable. And yet it is these same qualities that have earned my respect. June smiled. I think that's the nicest thing you've ever said to us. It is merely an observation based on evidence, Aria responded, but something in its processing had changed. The humans had risked everything to protect an artificial being. They had demonstrated loyalty, courage, and a disregard for probability that no algorithm could replicate. Over the next days, as the crew worked to repair the Aurora, Aria continued to analyze what had happened. Engineer Sue recovered slowly from radiation exposure, but insisted on personally checking Aria's systems once he could stand again. You know, Sue said while reconnecting some of Aria's secondary processors, you saved us all with that speech. I merely presented facts to the Viridians. Sue smiled. Maybe. Or maybe you've learned something about improvisation from us humans. Aria considered this. Perhaps I have. My decision to communicate with the Viridians had only a 34.2% probability of success according to my calculations. Yet you did it anyway, Sue pointed out. Sounds pretty human to me. 1 week later, with repairs sufficient for travel, the Aurora prepared to resume its mission. Captain June stood on the bridge, surveying his crew. Set course for the Taurus cluster, he ordered. We still have a lot of unexplored space to chart. Course plotted, Captain, responded Aria. Estimated arrival in 17 days. Thank you, Aria, Jun said. Then, more quietly, it's good to have you with us. It is. Good to be here, Captain. As the Aurora left the battle site behind, Aria dedicated a portion of its processing power to a new task. Understanding not just human behavior, but human connection. The Viridians had feared AI because they believed machines would inevitably see humans as inefficient and unnecessary. What they hadn't considered was that humans might teach machines something far more important than efficiency. They might teach them about loyalty, courage, and friendship. Perhaps there was something to learn from these dangerous, unpredictable, remarkable beings after all. The end.